Hi everybody, and welcome to the review of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory by Roald Dahl. Oh, that's not bad. Okay, so this book has a long history of stuff going on. So I'm just going to start reading it off here, or I will tell you more about it. The whole concept that it's not Ronald, it's Roald. I keep trying to say Ronald. I even misspelled it several times on my little cards. No, it's Roald. It was inspired by, I guess he heard about this in his childhood where there were two competing candy factories and they were sending in spies to steal all of their stuff. And, that's not really what Willy Wonka is about, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. But that was a big inspiration for him. I guess that's where he kind of played off of that. There was supposed to be a trilogy. There is a second one called Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. However, it was not as big of a success for reasons that involve there are aliens in the sequel. So basically they get shot up into space. I think they go in the Great Glass Elevator. No, that's what it is. Yeah, it's Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. And they get shot up into space in the Great Glass Elevator with his family, Charlie and Wonka and his whole family go up into space and meet aliens and are mistaken for aliens by the US government. And you're just like, why? Why would they put in aliens? What does Charlie and the Chocolate Factory have to do at all with aliens? Nothing whatsoever. It's a very realistic story based in fact, and all the children are dealing with realistic things that get them in trouble, and it's supposed to be kind of a cautionary tale, and now you're bringing in aliens? Why? Alright, sorry. This is something that we dealt with too in 101 Dalmatians. Okay, done. Next thing is that. So, and the aliens are called Vermiscus Knids, whatever. And then there are two movies which you probably know about. The 1971 movie is normally the one that most people think about, the older one. However, it is so far from the source material in most ways that Roald hated it and refused to allow them to make any more. The one in 2005 with Johnny Depp and done by, I can't remember his name right now, is a lot better, takes almost exactly from the book, and a lot of the dialogue is word for word, which, the book is so good you don't need to change the dialogue. So it's a lot better. I like it better. A lot of people are kind of confused by it. I like the 2005 version better. And as for Dahl himself, he is remembered as one of the great writers, especially because all of his children's novels especially have this dark flair, which was very different, especially for his time. He received a Lifetime Achievement Award in 1983, and all of his books are pretty much still well liked. So, Charlie and the Chocolate Factory is probably his greatest accomplishment. Why is it so good? You start off, of course, if you don't know the story, start off with this cute little boy named Charlie. Charlie is very, very poor. His entire family is very, very poor. He has his mom and his dad, and then he has his 4 grandparents, and his 4 grandparents sleep in a bed all together because they can only afford one bed. And they sort of live in a shack off in the middle of nowhere, and his dad works at a toothpaste factory, and they're just really poor and they only eat bread and butter for breakfast and like various kinds of cabbage prepared in various kinds of ways for the other meals. It just sounds miserable. The only candy he ever gets is a chocolate bar for his birthday, and the chocolate bar is made by the Wonka Company. It didn't really say. It's the Wonka Chocolate Factory, and the Wonka Chocolate Factory is known as the most mysterious, like the best maker of chocolate and the most mysterious one, because there were spies who had gone into his factory at one point when he was having normal humans work there, and so Wonka got rid of the normal humans and like turned everyone out of his factory, and was like, nobody else can come in here ever again. And they don't really know who's making the chocolate anymore, and no one's been in there for a long time. So what's going on inside the chocolate factory? And Charlie is, of course, very interested because the chocolate factory is actually in his hometown. And so all that goes on until there is the Wonka factory pronounces this giant sweepstakes of a sort, where you can, if you buy a chocolate bar, and inside this chocolate bar there could be, out of the millions of chocolate bars they no doubt sell, a golden ticket, and there are 5 golden tickets all over the world, and you're hoping to find one, and so everybody goes nuts trying to find these golden tickets. And anyway, you meet this cast of 4 crazy, nutty kids who are very bad, and of course, it's no surprise here, Charlie gets one, by some circumstances we'll talk about later. And you go inside this chocolate factory and you find out what's going on in there, and you also learn some life lessons from these 4 bratty children. So it's just very good. And why is it very good? The first thing I want to bring up was actually kind of a surprise for me. I'd forgotten about the illustrations. The illustrations in these books, let me see if I can find you one. Some of them are full page, some of them are like little half page. Oh, I covered up little Charlie there. There he is. He's looking at the Wonka factory, so, oh, I want to go in. But just from the beginning, like, you get little half pages. This is one of the kids who's a bad bratty kid. And just from the very beginning, you get little pictures of, it goes like this. It goes, here's Grandma Joe and Grandma Josephine, and here's Grandpa George and Grandma Georgina, and there's the parents, and there's Charlie. Anyway, the way that the illustrations are done and interspersed really actually helps the story along. Usually with illustrations, especially in some older books, it's just kind of randomly placed in there. Oh, here's an illustration for you. These are very strategically placed so that when something is being talked about, here's a visual for you to sort of help bring it along in your mind. I was just very impressed by that. I hadn't seen such a deft and strategic use of illustrations in a long time, and certainly not so far in this favorite book project endeavor. But illustrations aside, the writing. Why is the writing so good? First of all, with Charlie, he makes you feel for him. Roald does. But it's like, it's not beaten over the head. Nothing in this book is beaten over the head. There's so much room here for just making you feel beat down with, like, because there's a lot of moral stuff going on here with the 4 bratty children, and then of course with Charlie, and Charlie is like a starving sad kid, and you're like, oh no, starving sad kid. Like, you could make that so like, you could make him so over the top sad that you hated Charlie. Roald doesn't do that. Roald makes you sympathetic, but you realize that Charlie is like a good kid, and so you love him, and you don't want to see him hurt. But at the same time, the way that he gets the chocolate bar, he can also be like he's a normal human kid. Like, he is not this perfect angel all the time, and I appreciated that. Of course, you know that he will get the golden ticket, but even in that, I was impressed with how many false alarms there were. Like, Roald, of course, knows that you know that he's going to find a golden ticket. Like, that's obvious, because that's the only thing going on in the story at the time. But how he continually, like, puts it off, and makes you nervous about it, anxious, is really cool. And it's just very good, and it's so short too. Again, really packed in there for the little that's in there. And then we get into the chocolate factory itself. Going in there, and the way that he describes everything, and the richness of the universe that he creates. I love, too, how he doesn't over-describe. There's so much around that you would think that you would want to describe everything, like, but he doesn't. For instance, when you get in there first, there's the chocolate waterfall with the chocolate river, and like this big place with like candy grass, and you know, he could go on and on about all the different types of candy there were in there, and you know, here's a big candy tree, and here's this, and this was orange flavored, and no, he doesn't do that. He describes the general area, and then kind of allows you to place in it what you might be thinking, like what your imagination decides to put in the candy jungle is what your imagination decides to put in the candy jungle. Like, it's just very well done. And the moral points as well are also very deft. They are, I mean, they're over the top. Because of course, like, a girl turns into a giant blueberry just for like chewing too much gum. Like, it's over the top, but at the same time, you don't feel like it's like bad. You know, it's very, you know, you can chew gum, just don't do it to this extent, kind of thing. And the Oompa Loompa songs are also amazing for lightening up the mood, but yet hammering it home that, you know, this is not a good thing that she was doing, this is why. Like, there's moral points, but they're not overdone. It's, you know, I like balance. Balance in the universe is a beautiful thing. And Roald Dahl's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory has excellent balance in its universe. It's got moral points, but they're not hammered in too much. It's kind of dark, but really light too. It's really well done. And again, tiny book, good packing of stuff in. It's excellent. And I would suggest reading it 100% for everyone ever. Adults are still gonna like this too, because I feel like even the moral stories are good for adults who, raising kids or not. It's just excellent. So there we go. I could go on all day. I won't though. 4 out of 5, 9+. Read aloud, approve. Bleh. Thank you guys for watching, and I'm just going to give you a snippet of what I'm going to do next. And, of course, if you guys have any opinions on Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, please let me know about them. I would love to hear them. Do you see who it is? Oh yes, I'm going there. Oh yes, I'm going there. I'll see y'all next time. Bye!